If you're like most of the business professionals that I work with, then on paper, you've probably already won. The income, the influence, the reputation, it's all there and you've got it. But what about when the meeting's done and the laptop closes? Do you also have that quiet question that just won't go away that says like, but why do I still feel so disconnected? And it's not just from your partner or your kids or even your friendships, but like that disconnect from yourself, who it is that you really are. And maybe I can assume you've been brilliant at holding it all together professionally, but somewhere along the way, you stopped holding space for who it is that you are beneath all of that. This is where my flagship program, Reconnect, comes in. It's been built on the Relational Connection System that I created for people just like myself and hopefully people like you. That is really about giving you a clear, replicable system to get the results that it is that you're wanting in your life. It's built on 3 core pillars: vision, value, and velocity. And when those 3 are aligned, you feel clear, you feel connected, you feel congruent, not just like competent, but really you. And you move from a place of like survival, maybe performance being impressive, into real leadership across all aspects of life. But when even just one of those are missing, life just doesn't feel quite right. Something will be kind of just off. And maybe you got this, but you just can't quite put your finger on it. You get the success, but like not the satisfaction. Maybe you get the progress, but you don't feel at peace with it. You probably have contacts, but missing that real interpersonal connection that it is that we create. And so that's what I really want to help you with, help you calibrate all of that fast. So let's dive in. I want to show you how the system works right here. So what we have here is the Relational Connection System with the 3 pillars here: vision, values, and velocity. So I want to talk you through exactly what these mean, and maybe you can help diagnose yourself in the areas that you can grow in, even more specifically to give you a sense of clarity and direction and velocity and where it is that you're heading. And so firstly, vision. What vision isn't? When I ask people that I work with, well, what is it that you're seeing in your life and what is it that you want? They go, oh, my dream life is I'd love to drink some cocktails on the beach, maybe live in Bali like it is that you're doing. I can just sleep in when I want and not really have to do too much. And I'll always challenge them and say, well, one, this sounds like maybe a holiday lifestyle. And trust me, I've tried to drink cocktails on the beach after 3, 4, 5 days, or maybe you've been on a holiday that's went on too long. You start getting bored. It's like, what do you do after the holiday? For most people, this is actually escapism. And don't get me wrong, holiday's great. But if you're building a lifestyle around that, that's escaping what it is that you don't like rather than being really intentional with what it is that you do and what it is that you do. So here in vision, it's like, what is most important? What is most important around what it is that you're doing, the activities that you're doing? Who are you doing these activities with? What are the experiences that you share? How is it that you really feel as a result of all of those experiences? And how does any of this matter? It's really important to dial in, because until we know where it is that we're going, well, you're not going to have a sense of direction. You're not going to have the sense of... And so that's one of the first things that we start dialing in, we can start uncovering together. The second part here is around values. Who do I need to become? So the first thing that we do is we start building out that vision, where it is that you're going, and we start looking at it going, okay, once we have created it, well, then we can look at who is it that I need to become in order to live that vision. The first thing that we'll notice is, well, if I was the person that I needed to be to live that vision, well, then I'd already be living it, right? Which is a good thing. It means that we're down here, and this is not an opportunity for you to say, oh, well, I suck, I can't live my vision. It's more about going, oh, this is exciting because now we have a sense of direction, where it is that we're needing to go, but also clarity in who it is that I need to become. And so we say values here, but it's so much more than values. It's going, well, who do I need to become in terms of the attributes I need to demonstrate, the characteristics? What standards do I need to uphold for myself? What are the non-negotiables in my life? What's my expectations of others? Boundaries. How am I going to teach others the way that I want to be treated? Until we know all this, well, we have no way to be able to communicate it until we know it within ourselves. And then the second part is being able to communicating it and teaching others. So now we're creating a life that it is that we desire, as opposed to maybe You could be like I was for a long time, and a lot of people that I work with is coming from people pleasing or type characteristics, and which is all nice. It's all good and well for others if you're taking care of them. But the problem is one, you're doing them a disservice because they're not getting the opportunity to take care of themselves and their emotional discomforts, their needs, and setting their boundaries. But two, you'll never get what it is that you want in your life. And so we need to dive into who is it that you need to become in order to live the vision that we have created there together. And then, of course, we have then the third pillar is velocity. Once we've got the vision, once it is that we know who it is that you need to become, well, the gap, this is the bridge that we can start putting intentional frameworks in. We give you like little challenges, there's workbooks, there's modules to go through. It's going, okay, this is the part that's very specific to you, and being able to bridge that gap, become that version of yourself very intentionally and with volition, on purpose, which then happens so quickly, and that's why we call it velocity, in that you can get what it is that you want in your life in rapid time. Now, if we zoom out here, once we've got all three of them in place, vision, values, and velocity, what we'll notice is powerful reconnection or powerful connection in general. Yourself, once you're connected with yourself, well, then you can connect with others and connect with a life to fall in love with. And that's my whole purpose here. And one of my major vision for you, to live your dream. You live your dream, I'll live my dream. Let's live our dreams. And that's what we're creating here. So powerful reconnection. And I hope that's what it is, that you're really at this stage in your life, this season in your life, putting down the stuff of the past, the performance, and coming back to who it is that you really are. Now, what you'll notice, I love Venn diagrams, by the way, vision, values, velocity. Maybe you've got some of these already dialed in. So for example, if you have vision and values already developed, you get this directional integrity. And so let's go over here. What that might look like, you might already know who it is that you are, how it is, how to show up as truly you, what matters most, and you have strong clarity around that sense of direction that has meaning and purpose for you. If you don't have this in place already, well, chances are it's a vision or a values challenge that we need to be looking at. Move my face over here. When it's missing, what it looks like is you have kind of one day hopes and dreams, happen sometime in the future. You're stuck in reflection, or you're deeply thinking, maybe you're journaling on it. And there's just a little action. It reminds me of, have you been to Bali? There's a stereotype of those that go and hang out in a Buddha all the time. They live this nice Buddhism type lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then what we start to see over time is, until you create action, there's not going to be any change. And so a lot of that could be lacking direction, lacking a clarity. Maybe you're finding there's avoidance, distraction, perfectionism, procrastination, and that will be typically a symptom of either not having a vision or values bridged across together to give you that directional integrity. Now, if we go over here, when we've got values and velocity matched together, you can have some really aligned execution. And this is the exciting place to be. What we'll typically see here is you'll be living in alignment with what matters. You won't be just thinking about it. Actions will reflect your priorities, your needs and boundaries, not just known within yourself. They're communicated and they're demonstrated. Needs and boundaries, such important pillars that we need to develop for our own self-esteem, creating a life that it is that we truly desire. And your energy is protected as well. So one of the things that I see with really high achievers, they'll go out there hustling and grinding, but they'll be depleting their own energy. And that's where we start seeing burnout creeping in. And so when it's missing over here, we can see you might be moving. It could be moving really fast, but possibly it could be in the right direction. It's not aligned with who it is that you need to or want to become. You could be feeling drained, you're performing, you're rigid, something still feels off. Action is really reactive rather than that intentional, moving on purpose with volition that has a sense of meaning that fills you up. And so if you're experiencing any of that, chances are it could be your values or your velocity that is out of alignment with what it is that we need to be looking at there. And now finally, maybe you have your vision and your velocity together and you just got your values missing, but you got these two, you could have some really strategic momentum. And what that can look like if you got these two pieces in place, you got progress towards what matters, you're moving with energy, intention, you're feeling inspired and motivated, you're focused. These are all really great. It's a good example or demonstration that you have this velocity in place. You've got the strategic momentum going on. When it's missing, though, and this is a really common one with ambitious, high-achieving people that move fast, is actions are at the expense of yourself. It's a self-abandonment, self-neglect type scenario. Maybe you're overcommitting, you're people-pleasing, you're keeping the peace, you're taking care of others' needs, you're chasing success rather than really developing it in a way that's going to be sustainable and holistic, that aligns to your version of. So maybe it starts to feel like burnout. It looks like productivity. Really, again, if it's not in alignment with success, well, how can it be productive? And so maybe you're being more machine, which is quite common in these days with all the things that are going on, and you're feeling less human, i.e. probably not feeling so much, because taking this pathway requires a lot of emotional suppression. And so I'd be assuming that you're probably missing a lot of those emotions, the joy, the presence, the peace, the contentment, the satisfaction, maybe the happiness, especially with those that you love. Maybe a lot of that is already missing, or it's waning and you're wondering how to get it back. This is a pretty good indicator here. The cool thing about this model is that it helps us to build upon what you already have rather than needing to burn it all down and start again. The key is to come back to you with intention and develop the parts of you that maybe you weren't aware of, or that you already secretly know that you've been neglecting and abandoning for too long. So I want to ask you this. What if you didn't have to keep choosing between success and connection with others or connection with yourself? What if leading yourself made you attractive in a way that draws others in, whether it's at home, at work, and social environments? And what if reconnecting with the people who matter most in your life really started with reconnecting with you first? This is exactly the conversation that I guide so many clients through inside Reconnect every single day. And it starts with one call. If you're done sacrificing your relationships through the excuse of performance and you're ready to explore what reconnection could actually look like for you and your family, then let's talk. Book in the call using a link below or above, wherever it is, and you'll get an insight, you'll get clarity, you'll get a game plan that you can use, whether we work together or not. But regardless, either way, I'd love the opportunity to serve you where it is that you're at right now. And let's create that ripple effect out into the world with the people that really look up to you as a demonstration. So book below. Look forward to connecting.